Jess, do you have cards?
Yes.
So will you walk me through the first couple of cards, please?
Here.
Oh yeah, my career has. Okay.
I love the warm-up.
Welcome to the Pot Stirrer, where we mix it up with bold business leaders who are disrupting, defying, and differentiating in today's fiercely competitive marketplace.
Hi everybody, and welcome to the Pot Stirrer. I'm Gary Magenta, and I'll be your host. Over the last 17 years, my career has taken an unlikely path from restaurateur and cooking show host to change consultant, where I've been working with the world's most influential companies to disrupt, defy, and differentiate. So what are we doing here? Well, just the simple act of cooking creates natural conversation. You see, it's not about business speak on the Pot Stirrer. We just want to cook with today's most innovative leaders and learn from them. And today we're going to have a conversation with a global head of Hilton Hotels, a nearly 100-year-old company. Their name is synonymous with travel and hospitality. Please help me welcome Global Head of New Brand Development and my friend, Mr. Phil Cordell. Phil, welcome to the show.
Gary!
How are you, my friend?
Awesome, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Thanks for being here.
It's honored to be here. It's really fun. And we're going to do something in the kitchen here, right?
We're doing something in the kitchen.
This is not my natural environment.
I know it's not, so-
Hotel guy, no kitchen. Talk to me.
Hospitality for your whole career?
30 years. I mean, started as a bellman at a Hilton hotel, front desk, became a hotel manager, regional manager of operations, rose through the corporate ranks. So yes, hospitality guy through and through.
Tell me what you're doing today at Hilton.
Today, new brand development. Wow, Hilton, a company of 14 brands, 90 countries around the world. It's all about kind of offering the right kind of experiences to the right kind of guests. So now in my role, I'm kind of the pioneer, helping us think about what the new opportunities are, where do customers want to stay, what kind of experiences do they want to have, and how can we meet their needs.
Okay, so we've got some experiences to create here.
Yes.
We've got some chocolate peanut butter cookies to pioneer together, and peanut butter cup martini. So what I understand is you love peanut butter.
Yes.
You love chocolate.
Yes.
And you're a big Barry Manilow fan.
Yeah. You know, it's all about being happy. I mean, if you think about peanut butter and chocolate, happy. Barry Manilow, happy just because when you see him perform, he's full of energy, and man, you know, the world needs more happiness. Good stuff, yes.
Okay, good. First thing we're going to do is going to take care of that peanut butter portion of this recipe.
Perfect, yep.
So nothing too crazy here. We're going to take confectioner sugar and we're going to put it in that bowl, peanut butter.
Yes.
Right out of a jar.
Creamy
Peanut butter.
Matter.
No chunk.
Okay.
You can do
Perfect.
chunked if you want.
Okay.
We're just mixing these two things up. It's not pretty, but you want to incorporate the sugar into the peanut butter.
Yes.
And we are going to take dollops and we're going to freeze it because it becomes the center of the chocolate cookie. So while this is freezing, we're going to make the dough.
The gooey middle part.
Yes, and then we're going to place the dollop inside the cookie and roll it. And we're combining two very interesting and different ingredients, the peanut butter and chocolate. So I'm interested, at Hilton, how do you take sort of two seemingly very different ingredients and blend them together to make a really tasty, beautiful end product?
That's a tough question. Well, recently we launched a very successful brand called True by Hilton. It's kind of designed for people who maybe think like a millennial, but they're not necessarily a millennial in age. There's a little bit of element today of you want to be hip, right, regardless of age. But hip can also be kind of trendy and feel kind of young and off-putting to some people. So we kind of combine the thoughts of hip, but humble, hip and humble. So you have the ability to kind of do something, be kind of unique and different, but you're kind of grounded a bit from a comfort perspective.
So could you and I stay at a True?
Absolutely.
Because we're hip.
Right. Well, I don't know. We have to decide. Am I hip or humble, or what is you? I mean,
I'm definitely working on the humble,
Okay.
but I think I'm
okay.
hip.
All right. Good. Okay. So we're done with this.
We're done with that.
Okay,
And
all right.
I'm going to take this and put this in the freezer.
Yes.
So we'll start with the cookie dough while this is getting nice and solid, okay? So we're going to get into the actual cookie mix now. And this is where I'm going to put you to work. Flour,
Yes.
cocoa, sugar, a pinch, it's another technical term,
Yes.
of salt. Right here, those are our dry ingredients. Let's
Yes.
start with those.
Flour,
Cocoa.
chocolate stuff, salt, and you said a
Pinch of salt.
Pinch. You're like my mom. My mom was a Southern cook, and she didn't ever really use recipes. It was a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a dab of this, a dab of that.
We're going to whisk our dry ingredients
All right.
together.
Yes. This is a part that I can do.
You
Right?
can do that.
From this point forward, it may be not so much. Okay.
So put this to the side because we want to change that out for a spatula. And we're going to add the wet ingredients, coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start with a bit of milk, and we'll add more at the end if we need to.
Okay.
Maple syrup.
Ooh, yum.
Very nice.
Yum, 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 yum.
Chocolate liqueur.
Yes, of course.
And just a drizzle of vanilla extract. Yeah, you're doing great. Go to the edges and fold over. Fantastic. You just folded without even knowing, and that is a technical term.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did a great job. We're going to bring this together. So let's add the rest of that milk.
So all the rest of it?
Yeah, a little bit at a time. Just add a little bit more. Just drizzle it around. Perfect. We've got our cookie dough, and then we're going to take this and wrap it underneath.
Gotcha.
And we've got now our log, and we'll get a dozen cookies out of that. Is going into the refrigerator.
Yes.
And when I take out the roll of goodness that's been in there for the last hour and a half setting up, I'm also going to bring back the frozen peanut butter. Dollops.
Yum, 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 yum,
All
yum.
right. We're taking each one of these, we're opening it up in half, putting the peanut butter inside, and then we're rolling it like we're making meatballs.
All right.
I preheated the oven to 325.
Okay.
We're going to put them in there for 10 minutes and then check on them.
Okay.
And while we're waiting for these to bake, we've got a peanut butter cup martini to make.
Yes.
We're just going to drizzle
Okay.
this chocolate all around the inside, and it's going to look great once we put the drink in.
Artistic flair. There we go.
And we want it to set up a little bit by chilling it so it doesn't get sort of too milkshakey right off the bat.
Yes.
So I'm going to refrigerate this.
All right. We got the shaker with ice.
Got the shaker with ice. This gets really simple now. So now it's vodka, and it's for me and you, this drink.
Okay.
So we're going to do about 3 ounces. So
that's a
1.5
heavy pour.
ounces each.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3.
Very scientific.
Now we're going to use some rum, and we're going to do 2 ounces, so an ounce for each of us.
This is a killer.
2. Now we're going to look at the chocolate liqueur, and we're also going to do 2 ounces of that. 1, 2, and this is heavy cream. This is whipping cream, and the measurement here is a bunch.
A bunch. Okay, that's
bunch.
very technical.
Go ahead, shake.
Right. Yeah, a little high, shake it low, shake it right, shake it left. All right, well shaken.
So let's serve this up. You ready?
It's frothy, kind of messy. All right.
Let's take the cookies out. Let's place these right over here.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Look at those.
Look at those.
What I'd love to do is learn more about your career, what Hilton and your brands are doing to disrupt in the marketplace.
Awesome.
Learn more about your culture and all the great people. What do you say we dig in and maybe we talk with our mouthfuls a little bit and get into the business conversation?
That works. Before that, why don't we do a toast?
Here's
Cheers
to living like you're awesome.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Oh, are we? That's good. Let's give these a try. These are the chocolate peanut butter cookies we made. They're super heavy, but they're almost like fudge.
The dollop of peanut butter in the middle, that's what makes a difference.
And it really makes it nice and creamy. These are really good. So I always bring for my guests a stack of questions. I know through the grapevine that you were the general manager of the second ever Hampton hotel, and I think there's like 2,300 around the globe now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what was the opportunity 30 years ago that Hampton saw in the hospitality marketplace, and what did you do to capture it?
So we had an opportunity to kind of enter space 30 years ago in the lodging industry with something that was kind of new and different, because there was a whole sea of sameness. Brands that we grew up with that had been around forever but just didn't stay relevant. So we said, let's do something different that kind of breaks the mold. And at that point, really the idea of a value-priced hotel that was new and different didn't exist. So we said, let's target that customer, the business traveler who travels during the week, the road warrior who loves to stay, the families on the weekends, the seniors. So we came out with, ta-da, this revolutionary new rooms-only hotel, because people said, you know, we don't use hotel restaurants, we don't use bars, we don't want to pay for that stuff. We just
focus that service.
Room, and by the way, it'd be nice if you'd throw in something to eat for breakfast. I think one of the things that set us apart at that very first hotel, we had a breakfast hostess who took care of breakfast in the morning for us. And she was all about making connections with customers. And what a powerful thing for somebody who's on the road all week to have the breakfast hostess remember that person every couple of weeks and say, you know, Mr. Smith, I remember you like blueberry muffins. We'll make sure we've got that for you. So It was kind of accidental that
So-
little bit
so
of
is that
service was there. but-
Yeah, service touch, a personal touch, intimacy.
That first hotel ran 100% occupancy for like 8 months consecutively, and it's just built from that one hotel to 2,330 countries.
All right, so I just want to talk about those secret ingredients for a second. You said value,
Mm-hmm.
and then you mentioned very specifically a hostess who was providing this maybe a different service element
Yep.
to it. Was it the combination of those two, or was it one or the other that made the
You know, I
difference?
think we learned along the way, and we started to think about what touch points, what ways in the journey are there for customers to kind of have another connection point. And like 90% of the people come down and stay with us for breakfast. So what an opportunity, even if it's just a quick hello, good morning, how may
Sure.
I help you, how's your day, have a great day. Those little things, man, with service, it's all about non-scripted, casual, genuine service. And so it's just, that's something, that little touch that we've kind of shared. And those are the things that remember. You know, I talk a lot with our customers, and they talk a lot about little things that create experiences that are worth sharing to other people.
So Phil, you're a 100% franchised organization, is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so franchise have a choice of brands when they're deciding where to invest.
Yep.
So why have franchisees chosen Hilton over other opportunities?
Obviously, it's to choose a brand with whom you can make money. I think it's also important that we think about a brand that evolves over time. To think about being affiliated with a brand that you can have some confidence in is going to try to stay ahead of the curve. You know, I talked to the team some about when you're running a successful business, although I'm not a surfer, I can imagine it to be somewhat like a surfer, so that you're riding your board on a wave, and your whole key is to kind of look for the other part of the wave that you can jump onto before you get sucked under by the undertow. So I think brands that really can continue to stay ahead of that curve is really important. In our business with these franchisees, these intermediaries, these owners who are trying to deliver against the brand that we're promising, are very important. So you got to love on them, hug them, and make them champions just in the same way you do the other customers. So kind of connection with owners in a way that resonates, help them make money, and a brand that kind of stays different and differentiated.
I think what I heard you say is really we have two sets of customers at
Absolutely.
Hampton. We've got our owners and we have the guest, and they both need to be happy. I know that culture is really important at Hampton, and that your culture actually has a name,
Yes,
Hamptonality.
absolutely, yeah.
So Hampton's culture is recognized as one of the strongest, if not the strongest, in the hospitality industry, and even across industries. So what's the core of this culture called Hamptonality? What's the foundation of it?
I think in service industries sometimes that culture thing kind of goes by the wayside. You know, some people think culture is about service. It kind of is, but it's not about scripted service. It's not about answer the phone in 5 rings, say good morning, blah, blah,
Right,
blah. It's not
right.
that. It's got to be kind of organic. So I think culture is about giving people a framework that they can then build on to deliver service in a way that's authentic to them, but kind of within a framework.
Consistent
And
with the brand, authentic to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, for a long time with Hampton, and we still do, the brand talked about kind of the acronym of FACT, friendly, authentic, caring, and thoughtful. And it allows team members to kind of latch on to one of those words and deliver service in a way that's appropriate and comfortable to them. You know, all team members, I think one of the very worst things we can do in business is try to make everybody act exactly the same. And then allowing a team member to kind of grasp that thing that they do well and deliver service.
How do you create a business case for culture? I mean, you have to go to franchisees with this idea. You have to go to investors, your front line. What's the business case for culture?
We found that hotels that excel at delivering service and engaging with customers run between a 15 and a 25% revenue premium versus our hotels that don't deliver in that way. It's just powerful, right? Customers are attracted to places they can feel engaged, and the math proves it out.
So now I know that you're in Asia, and you're in Europe, you're all over the world. How do you transport that culture, and how do you capture the hearts and the minds of customers with so many different cultures across the planet?
Yeah, Gary, I mean, that's been an interesting journey, you know, when we kind of latched onto this idea of Hamptonality. A lot of people said, yeah, it works perfect in the US, it's kind of gimmicky, it's kind of cheesy, it's kind of fun, but it kind of ends there. We said, no, if we do this right, if it's all about being a movement that we can translate across cultures, we think it can work. So one of our first hotels outside of the US was in Germany. And in this particular location, they had a lot of customers who were English speaking when the staff was predominantly German speaking. So the general manager on his own said, you know, what if we take bananas? And in English, I teach my breakfast hostess how to write the word welcome on a banana.
Yeah.
That's a hint. That kind of thing is what makes it organic and took off. You know, allow them to own it
Yeah.
and manifest itself in the way they think is right. It works. It grows.
So you brought the culture and they adopted it to a local
Absolutely.
feel. So I've got a couple of questions I'd like to ask you in what we call the lightning round. And
Sure
this
thing.
is to help people get to know you a little bit
Yeah.
and what's important to you. So you've been an admired leader in hospitality for over 30 years. Who's the leader that inspires you most? And it could be somebody from history or from your own business or, politics.
My first grade teacher's name was Miss Benarski. And that very first day, she gave us a lesson in kind of life, and she shared a very simple phrase: expect the best.
So, favorite place in the world you've ever traveled to?
I love Italy just because it kind of brings alive all of your senses. It's just a different place that kind of takes you out of one mindset and puts you in another.
This is the last question. You're in a time machine and you can transport yourself 100 years to the future. What does hospitality itself look like in 100 years from now?
I think our opportunity is to make sure that hospitality stays part of the picture, right? That genuine connection, person to person.
In the future, people are still going to be an important part of hospitality.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, Phil, it's been my great pleasure to be with you today.
No, Gary, I
and to have
enjoyed the
worked with you all
opportunity.
these years.
How about
Thank
we
you.
end with another toast here,
Let's
right?
do it.
To change-ready and future-focused leadership. How about that?
I'll drink to that.
All right,
Thanks,
Gary.
Phil.
Thanks.